Has there ever been a time in your life when you were insulted or humiliated and you didn't know how to react? What if I told you that calmness is your most powerful defense? Or imagine that you are being humiliated right now. Are you able to stay calm? The Stoics believe that any insult has power only when we accept it. When we are humiliated, it is like a blow to our ego. Most people immediately react. They insult back, get angry, or withdraw. But what does this do? Reacting to humiliation only intensifies the conflict, and losing our composure makes us look weaker. The ability to stay calm in such situations shows your inner strength, maturity, and wisdom. Today, I will tell you how to stay calm in the most difficult moments, even when it seems that the whole world is against you. We will analyze the principles of Stoicism that will help you become calm and confident, regardless of what others say or do. Humiliation always hits the most painful place, our ego. When someone tries to hurt us, it seems like a personal attack, a threat to our dignity or status. We react instantly. Some of us vent our anger. Others remain silent while boiling inside, and others try to justify themselves. But why does it hurt us so much? The fact is that humiliation is just a tool. People who humiliate you do so not because you deserve it, but because they feel weak themselves. When they see your strength, your confidence, they feel threatened. Sometimes it's just an attempt to draw attention to themselves, to show their power. Or it's a way of shifting their own complexes and insecurities onto others. It's like when someone is drowning and grabs your hand, pulling you down. However, it is not what others do that matters, but how we perceive it. The Stoics said, "We are not upset by events, but by the way we perceive them." In other words, humiliation itself is just the words or actions of another person. They can't hurt you unless you let them. But our ego, that inner part of us that always seeks approval, reacts strongly to it. Imagine you have been insulted. The first reaction is indignation. How can this person say such a thing? They don't even know you for real. And here it is important to understand, the more we believe in these words, the more we allow them to influence us, the deeper they penetrate our consciousness. The Stoics believe that the key to inner peace is to understand that the external has no power over us. When someone tries to humiliate you, it is important to remember that this is just a reflection of the other person, not you. These are their words, their pain, their experience. You are you, and no one can destroy your dignity unless you let them. Remember what Epictetus said. It is not the one who upsets you who shouts at you, but the fact that you have decided that it is important. Why do we still feel this blow? The reason is in our human nature. We all want to be accepted and respected. Our ego always seeks recognition. When someone questions our value, we feel vulnerable. This vulnerability is a mirror in which we see our fears. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of looking weak or stupid. And it is this fear that makes us react. Now imagine that you are looking at the situation from the other side. What if you didn't take these words as truth? What if you simply saw behind those words a person who is trying to gain control over you? A person who is probably suffering himself? Realize that no one can make you feel bad without your consent. The Stoic approach is not to ignore humiliation, but to change its perception. Instead of asking, "Why did they do that?" ask yourself, "Why did it hurt me?" When you start looking for answers within, you will realize that the problem is not with others, but with your expectations. We expect others to treat us with respect. But who gave them this obligation? When someone insults you, remember that their words are just noise. They cannot change who you are unless you let them. In every situation where you hear demeaning words, you have a choice. You can react with anger, and then you will lose control. Or you can take it as an opportunity to prove to yourself that your inner strength is greater than any external attacks. Humiliation has power only when we allow it to have that power. Imagine yourself as a rock in the middle of the ocean. The waves can hit it, but it remains unmoved. The Stoics believe that true freedom is independence from other people's opinions. You cannot control what others say, but you always control how you react to it. The next time someone tries to humiliate you, just stop and ask yourself, does it really matter? Your value is not determined by other people's words. but by your own actions and beliefs. And remember, the best response to humiliation is your equanimity. A Stoic approach to insults and humiliation is based on a deep understanding that we have no control over what other people do or say. The only thing we can truly control is our own thoughts, emotions, and reactions. This is where our freedom lies. When someone tries to humiliate you, the key task of a Stoic is to not let this negativity into your inner world. Control your reactions. People often act impulsively, especially in situations where they feel attacked. Offensive words or actions of another person are perceived as a challenge, and our natural reaction is to rebel, defend, or even attack back. But think for a moment. Does this really help? Does your aggression change the situation? As a rule, it only adds fuel to the fire. Stoics call for something completely different. When you hear offensive words, do not react immediately. Imagine that you have a choice. You can respond with anger, or you can take a pause. This pause is your most valuable resource. It allows you to regain control of yourself instead of becoming a hostage to someone else's words. Take a breath in and out. Realize that what you have heard is just a sound, a set of words that has power only because your mind gives it meaning. As Marcus Aurelius said, "No one can offend you without your consent." This phrase is the heart of Stoic philosophy. An insult becomes real only when we allow it to enter our inner world. Imagine that the words of another person are arrows flying at you. If you raise your shield of indifference, these arrows simply bounce off. But if you lower your shield and open yourself up to influence, every arrow will hit the target. Your task is to always keep the shield up. Remember that other people's words are only their reflection, not yours. Internal dialogue. Another important skill of a Stoic is to engage in an internal dialogue. When someone offends you, it is important not only to control your reactions, but also to rethink the situation inside yourself. Ask yourself the right questions. First, ask yourself, is this person really important to me? If it's a random stranger or a colleague who has no significant impact on your life, is it worth spending your energy on what they have to say? We often let small events and random people take up too much space in our minds. Second, ask, does this person's opinion matter to my life? Does their opinion change who you are? If you know your true value, then the words of others cannot change it. As the Stoics said, your dignity does not depend on other people's opinions. You can also use a simple phrase for yourself. Their words say more about them than about me. This is a reminder that insults or humiliation are a reflection of the other person's inner state. People who are confident and emotionally stable rarely try to humiliate someone. So, if someone is being aggressive or dismissive, it's just a signal of their own problems, not yours. Imagine that you are a mirror. Another person tries to throw dirt at it, but the dirt remains in their hands because the mirror cannot hold what does not belong to it. In the same way, you should not accept the negativity that is addressed to you. A Stoic approach to humiliation is not something that can be mastered overnight. It is a constant practice. Every time you are insulted, consider this situation as an opportunity to practice your equanimity. Think about it. Isn't this the best moment to prove to yourself that you are the master of your emotions? If you learn not to react impulsively, you will begin to notice how your state of mind changes. You will no longer be vulnerable to other people's manipulations. With each new situation in which you remain calm, your inner strength will grow. The most important thing is to realize that you always have a choice. Hurtful words may seem like a blow, but in reality, it's just a test of your resilience. And remember, the best response to insults is your indifference. When you remain unfazed, you demonstrate true strength, and this disarms anyone who has tried to humiliate you. Practicing indifference. Stoic indifference or apathy does not mean that you should become cold, indifferent, or detached from the world. On the contrary, it is the ability to focus your energy on what really matters and avoid unnecessary worries about things you cannot control. In cases where you are humiliated or insulted, this principle is the key to inner peace. Let's start with the main thing. What is indifference in Stoicism? It is not an emotional emptiness, but a state in which you recognize that there are things that are beyond your control. The words and actions of other people, their emotions, or attempts at manipulation are examples of things you have no direct influence over. So why waste your time and energy fighting against something you cannot change? Epictetus emphasized, do not worry about what is beyond your control. This simple principle can completely change your attitude toward insults or humiliation. When someone says something unpleasant to you, ask yourself, can I change this person or make them think differently? The answer is usually no. You cannot change other people's thoughts or their motives. However, you can change your perception of what is happening. Humiliation is essentially just a signal. It is information about the other person's state of mind, thoughts, or emotions. Imagine that you have received a message. It may be rude, negative, or offensive, but does that mean you have to react to it? No, it doesn't. You can always leave it unread or simply delete it. The Stoics taught the same attitude to any external stimulus. Indifference to humiliation is not passivity, but an active decision. You decide that you will not allow other people to influence your inner state. It is your conscious decision to remain unmoved, regardless of what is happening around you. To do this, you need to train your mind and perception. Identify what exactly has hurt you. When someone tries to humiliate you, it's important to understand why it makes you feel this way. Did it hurt your pride? Or did you feel injustice? Maybe it's just your fear of looking weak in the eyes of others. Once you realize the source of your emotions, you will be able to understand that the problem is not in someone else's words, but in your interpretation of those words. Remember the principle of control. Everything that is beyond your control is not worth your energy. The thoughts and words of other people are just such an example. You cannot make them think differently, even if you try to convince them that you are right. So, the wisest thing you can do is simply accept the fact that their words have no real power over you. Separate facts and emotions. When you hear derogatory words, they are just sounds. In fact, they are a set of letters or sounds that the other person made in space. The negativity you feel comes from the fact that you have given these words meaning. The Stoics advised us to separate reality from our perception. If you perceive humiliation as an attack, you create a problem for yourself. But if you perceive it as useless words, then they just disappear into thin air. Use metaphors. Imagine that the other person's words are smoke. It can be thick, unpleasant, or even suffocating, but if you take a few steps away, the smoke will dissipate. It's the same with insults. They can't last forever if you don't let them linger in your mind. Develop self-observation. Practice understanding your emotions when someone is trying to humiliate you. Notice how your body reacts. Does your breathing speed up? Does your tension increase? Just observe yourself without trying to change anything immediately. This will help you distance yourself from emotions and regain control of the situation. Repeat mantras. Stoics often used short phrases to remind themselves of their philosophy. For example, you can say to yourself, "This is not mine," or "Their words do not define me." Such mantras help to reinforce the right attitude towards the situation. Change your focus when you are faced with insults or humiliation. Focus not on their content, but on how you can use this situation to develop your character. Imagine that this is a test that helps you become stronger. The more you practice indifference, the less external stimuli will be able to influence you. Insult is the other person's problem. And most importantly, remember that insult or humiliation is always about the person who expresses it, not about you. When someone insults you, it shows their character, their fears, complexes, or internal struggles. Their words may be directed at you, but they come from their world, their reality. Indifference is your best weapon. It not only protects you from other people's negativity, but also demonstrates your strength. As soon as you stop reacting, the person who tried to humiliate you loses power over you. The Stoics believe that true peace is achieved when you let go of what is out of your control and focus on what is really important, your inner resilience. How to strengthen your resilience in the future. Resilience is not an innate quality, but a skill that can be developed throughout life. It helps not only to cope with current challenges, but also to be prepared for the future. In Stoicism, resilience is perceived as the result of daily work on oneself. cultivation of virtues, and the ability to accept life as it is. The first thing to understand is that resilience is built through adversity. Imagine how the body trains. Without resistance, muscles do not grow. Likewise, our ability to remain calm in difficult situations develops through reflection on the difficulties we have experienced and understanding their role in our lives. Develop emotional resilience, daily meditation, or reflection. Emotional endurance is the foundation of resilience. Like any muscle, it needs constant training. In Stoicism, one of the main tools is daily reflection. Every evening you can ask yourself, what has thrown me off balance today? Were there moments when I let my emotions control me? How could I have reacted better? Such reflections help not only to analyze past events, but also to prepare for the future. They make a person more aware of their reactions. Meditation, in turn, teaches us to live in the present moment. The Stoics did not have modern meditation techniques, but they practiced focusing on the breath or realizing themselves as part of the universe. This practice calms the mind and helps to look at situations objectively. Apply the principle of amor fati, accept events as they are. Amor fati, or love of fate, is one of the key principles of Stoicism. Its essence lies in accepting all life events, both positive and negative. The Stoics believe that every situation, even the most difficult, teaches us a lesson. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" we should ask, "What can I learn from this?" This principle helps to avoid futile resistance to the inevitable. For example, if you've been humiliated or insulted, instead of being worried or angry, think about how it can strengthen your character. Perhaps it's an opportunity to practice indifference to other people's opinions or to build your self-confidence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it does not depend on you, it should not concern you." This means that what other people do or say is their problem, not yours. You can only control your reactions. Accepting this fact frees you from unnecessary suffering. Be prepared for challenges. Anticipate them. The Stoics advised not to avoid thinking about difficulties, but rather to prepare yourself for them. This doesn't mean living in fear or constantly expecting the worst, but anticipating possible challenges and training your mind to face them. The practice of negative visualization is an effective tool. Every morning, you can imagine what could go wrong. Someone could offend you, an important plan could fail, you could make a mistake. This imagination does not make you a pessimist, but rather helps you to be prepared for the unexpected and accept it more calmly. Focus on virtues, not results. Resilience comes naturally when you set a goal to live with integrity and in accordance with your principles, rather than to achieve a specific result. For example, if you're being criticized at work, you can focus on whether your actions are up to your standards rather than on someone else's assessment. The Stoics believe that true satisfaction comes from virtue. If you stay true to your principles, you won't care what others think or say. Learn to let go of control over things that are not yours. Most suffering arises from the desire to control what is not in your power. This applies to both people and situations. Can you change someone's mind? Can you make everyone respect you? The Stoics answered no. Instead, focus on what you can do. Stay calm. Don't respond to rudeness with rudeness. Keep moving forward without being distracted by other people's provocations. Take small steps as a way to a bigger goal. Building resilience is not a quick process. It is a daily practice that starts small. One day, without an emotional reaction to criticism, is already a victory. One evening spent reflecting on the day is already a step forward. The Stoics believe that the path to inner harmony is constant work on oneself. You won't become equanimous in one day, but each small step will bring you closer to this goal. So, every insult, every humiliation is just a test of your inner peace. Your ability to remain equanimous does not depend on the words or actions of other people, but only on how you react to them. Stoic wisdom helps us understand that other people's words are their reality, and your reality is your virtues, principles, and ability to control yourself. The next time someone tries to hurt you, pause. Just observe your reaction. Do not rush to respond. Do not give in to emotions. This is your opportunity to grow, become stronger, and most importantly, free. And now a question for you. How do you usually react to humiliation? What helps you stay calm? Share your experience in the comments. It might inspire others. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this topic, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and watch other videos that will help you build a life in harmony. See you in the next episode.